Wait a minute, standing, right?
That's fine. This is CJ Harris from my SAT prep class, and he was in a whole group teaching setting. He and, was it 2 of your classmates or 3?
3.
3. They taught the class as a whole group. Now, CJ, what do you think went well?
I think the cooperation part went well. Like the students listen, and we got the message to them as far as teaching the lesson.
How would you compare it to if the teacher, as me, taught the same story? Do you think it'd been any different?
Yeah, I think it would have been more in depth, and maybe the students would have reached out a little more and did more. Because when we ask them to do certain things, they'll be hesitant, but with you, they would have did it right away.
And that's probably because you're their peers,
yeah.
right? Because they don't see you as the teacher, even though I put you in that role.
Yeah.
That makes sense. How do you feel about, your group understanding the story? Do you think that because you had to work together to teach it, that you understood it better than if I just taught it?
Yeah, I think because we had to learn it ourselves instead of you teaching us, that made us learn it. That made us have to learn it because we had to teach it.
So you had to become experts in a sense.
Yeah.
What do you think could have gone better?
I think we maybe could have split up the group work better instead of like one person talking the whole time.
So just on a group basis, like you thought your group may have split up the work a little bit better.
Yeah, like we could have, yeah.
How well did the group work, splitting up the work, like amongst the 4 of you? Like, did anybody kind of take charge and do most of it, or did y'all split it up evenly, or?
Yeah, mostly Lee did the talking.
Mm-hmm.
We did like the writing work, like writing out the lesson and splitting up the story, explaining it. But mostly Lee did all the talking.
Now, as difficult as the story was, do you think you guys eventually got a good grasp on it to be able to teach it? Like, because at first everybody thought their story was mighty difficult. Do you think doing it this way made you get it better?
Yeah, it was a lot easier having more people like to help you learn it instead of trying to learn it yourself. Like learning it in a group, it was better.
Do you think? I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Do you think you learned more because you had to become experts, or do you think you learned more from the other groups?
I think I learned more from the other groups.
So when the other groups taught you, you thought you did better than when you were in your own group making the lesson?
Yes, sir.
What groups particularly did well? Did the groups that taught it as a whole do better, or do you think the group that split you up into tiny groups did better?
I think the group that split us up into tiny groups did better.
Why do you think they did better?
Because we got more like one-on-one explanations and like we can ask our questions directly to them. We had our own teacher. Like,
Are you more willing, or do you think students in general are more willing to ask their friends in the small group for help, or do you think they're more willing to ask me or another teacher?
they're probably more willing to ask their friends because most of the time people don't want to ask out loud in front of the class or stuff like that.
So an embarrassment factor, sort of. Any other thoughts or comments you have?
I think it went well.
All right. Thank you, CJ.